Thank you for joining us for Chatting in the Void, a conversational podcast hosted by Cthulhu Tilly and Holic. Episode 13. We've been doing this for a hot minute now.
Yes,
I messaged Ender to see if he would be joining us today, ask him if he's going to be a chat or a simp, and he decided to be a simp, so, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say,
us.
for the people on the stream, if it sounds crackly, it's probably your internet, because Tuli sounds just fine for me.
Okay, let me get we're going to get wow,
pin.
It's
a little weird.
It's kind of...
There you go. Nope.
What?
Nope. Yep. Nope.
Oh,
yep.
There we go. There we go.
Right, cool.
That's the right spot for it. All right. And my little pin. Shout out to my friend Mafi who did the pin icon that goes on my hoodie. He's awesome. All right. Anyways, so what did you do this week?
A shit ton of Genshin Impact, because they released that new patch that I was talking about last episode. And the new character turned out to be way cooler than everybody anticipated. And I'm glad that I saved up for it, because that shit's OP.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Also, I started my driving lessons at the hot age of 28 years old. I have started to learn how to drive.
Better late than never.
It's been quite the adventure. I am happy to report I have not yet ran over anybody quite yet.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of me too.
I have also not yet run over anybody.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've been driving for a long time. Anyways, so Genshin, how is Genshin going for you?
Oh, you want to talk about Genshin? That's weird. Are you okay?
No, I don't want to talk about Genshin. But you want to talk about Genshin.
I already said everything I wanted to say about Genshin.
Oh, okay.
We can shut up about it. It's fine.
So you're simping for the new character. That's what it is.
Absolutely. She's a total mommy, and I love her.
That's I
100%.
figured as much.
Yes, she's great.
Gotcha, game.
It was funny. I was in a Discord conversation with someone, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I really like the new character's design. You know, she looks really cool and all." And I was like, and then somebody else was like, "Are you sure it's not because she's a dummy mommy?" And I was like, "No, man. How can you degrade the character to just that?" And I had to interrupt and be like, "Bro, listen to me. She's wearing skin tight leather. B, she has a whip." And 3, in her trailer, she literally steps on people. Like, wake up.
Yeah, they're definitely leaning heavy into that aesthetic, I guess.
Wake the fuck up, bro.
Jesus.
All right, that's 100% what the artists went for when they created that character. Yeah. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Kinky.
Absolutely.
Very kinky.
Very kinky.
It's like they say, sex sells.
It's true.
And it's fucking selling really well, apparently. So it worked out for them. I mean,
I know a bunch of people who would definitely immediately buy that character simply for that. So, you know, it definitely sells.
I saved up for her just because, like, I really like the aesthetic. Yeah. I really, really like when women have short hair. I think that looks way better than long hair.
Yeah.
So that's basically just it. And she's blue. Like, come on, dude. I have to go with that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's literally your aesthetic. It's perfect.
Exactly. It's literally what I'm going for right now. So I couldn't not get the character. Oh man. Yeah. Well, in other news, Rusty Hearts released earlier today. Well, the new patch released, and for the first time in years did I walk around town and I saw other people walking and chatting too, and that was a strange feeling. I felt like I was teleported back to 2013 out of nowhere. That was an odd feeling.
That's crazy. That's pretty awesome though.
You feel like you shouldn't be here? Awesome. No, Index, you're in the right place at the right time. Do not worry.
You should definitely be here, Index. Anyways, today I put up cat shells. That was pretty cool.
You put up what now?
cat shells. So like
Oh,
cat
shells.
purchase.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How many cats do you own?
I don't own any. They were for a friend. Who wanted help,
Oh.
so I assisted.
How many cats do just your friend own?
2.
Two, just
Just
two.
the 2.
All right.
Yeah, but you know,
gotta spoil the cats.
wanted some nice cat purchase, and they're actually they're coming together pretty well. We're almost done. We have 2 more to do, but it's like I can only do it in certain blocks of time because I have a lot of things on my plate at any given time. Yeah.
Full-time
that
job.
is true.
Full-time job, having to edit my content for me. What else?
Yeah.
Assemble furniture for your friends.
Have a social life. Yeah. Assemble furniture. Deliver toilets.
Destroy your arms and legs climbing Friday night.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Truly is a busy guy.
I am always busy, but that's the thing. I fill my time with things. I also, I write and read prolifically, and I started like 2 new books this week, and I'm rereading some old ones. And I listened to 3 books this week already, and like, yeah, it's been a productive week. I've been doing a lot of crazy stuff, including, going on a date, which was pretty awesome.
Oh, and, was it from that dating app?
It was from one of them. Yeah, it was from Boo, which is actually a pretty solid dating app. Aside from like the fact that it's heavily focused on like personality tests.
Okay.
And like the Myers-Briggs types and stuff like that, which aren't like, I don't know, they're okay, but they're not the best, and they're also not great for like determining who you mesh well with, because
like that feels a little weird. But just out of curiosity, what is your category within that test?
So for Myers-Briggs, I am INFP. So
it's introverted. What's the N for?
So it is. Let's see here.
Let me see what mine was. Which one was mine? Hold on. Myers.
Introverted, feeling, prospecting, intuitive.
Got it.
Technically, introverted, intuitive, feeling, prospecting. So, yeah, I am the. I think the archetype is called the mediator. Like that's the name of it.
Oh, okay. So it's the same one I get. I'm also INFP. May or may not have something to do.
Poetic, kind, altruistic. That type. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember it's the way I remember it's the one that is the least common, but with a P at the end instead of the other one. That's how I always remember what it is.
J. INFJ is the least common overall, I think, and then INFP.
No, INFP is like, I'm looking at the spreadsheet right now, is 4.4% of all the people who take the test.
Yeah.
INFJ is 1.6.
Yeah.
So it is...
That makes sense.
4 times more likely to be INFP than INFJ, kind of.
Yeah. Ironically enough, a lot of like my favorite authors supposedly are INFPs based on like what people say, but I don't fucking know. Like C.S. Lewis was supposedly an INFP, which actually does kind of make sense given what he wrote. But yeah, what about do you know the ocean or the I'm trying to remember
the what?
The Enneagrams?
No, I don't know any of that.
Those are other different types of personality tests like that. So ocean, the ocean test is 5 attributes that you can rate high or low in. It's probably the most accurate of all of the personality tests. It is, and like the most applicable. So the big 5 are openness to experience, agreeableness, conscientiousness, extroversion, and neuroticism. And so that's actually what a lot of psychologists use to assess the personalities of the people that they're dealing with, to give them assistance, to figure out where they can improve that, what they need to do to interact with the world healthily, because your personality is a huge part of that. And so that's where I learned about ocean, is talking with therapists. And I find that it's very helpful because like you test out and
thank you for the quack.
You start like interacting with yourself differently based on what you know about yourself, right? And
Right.
then the Enneagram test is, I feel like it's better than Myers-Briggs,
Okay.
but it's slightly less specific, if that makes sense. It's kind of interesting. And it gives you, like, you have a primary and a secondary. So there
I
are
see.
nine
Like combinations.
primary archetypes. No, so there are 9 primary archetypes, and then each primary archetype has a separation with its wings. So, like, for example, I think I am a 4-wing 5 on Enneagram. So that means that I have like a specific set of personality traits. Technically, it's not perfect, obviously, because none of them are, but it's like when you have a wing, so you can have a 4-wing 5 or a 4-wing 3, and those have 2 different separate personality traits as well. So it's like each one has 2, so it's technically 18 personality types. So it's just like slightly more than Myers-Briggs, because Myers-Briggs only has the 16 personality types.
Okay.
So it's kind of slightly more specific, and I feel like it's slightly more applicable.
It's more practical.
But more practical. And then Ocean is like the most applicable, I guess. It's kind of weird because like Ocean doesn't really, it doesn't give you an archetype. That's one of the things that I like about it, because the archetypal personality tests kind of bother me sometimes, just because I am an INFP, but I'm not like, just like everybody isn't perfectly, or most people aren't perfectly their personality archetype in Myers-Briggs. I'm not. Most people aren't. And so it's one of those things where it's like people can assume things about you oftentimes when they know, like, oh, you're an INFP, so you must be this way. And you're like, no. So that's one of the things that kind of bothers me about the app. But it focuses mostly on Ocean, Enneagram, and Myers-Briggs. But I must be said, I appreciate that more than I appreciate certain other dating apps that focus almost entirely on
just the pictures.
astrology or the pictures.
Yeah.
I think astrology is worse than the pictures.
That sounds absolutely worse for sure. At least with pictures, you somewhat can see what you're getting into. Astrology, it's just straight up pseudoscience. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Not even pseudoscience. It's straight up bullshit.
Bumble is like super focused on astrology.
Thank you for
there are a lot of astrology people on Bumble. I don't like it.
Screw that. It's like, your life is not determined by the year or the time of the year that you fucking happen to be born in. You know what determines your personality? How good or bad your parents are. That has way more emphasis on what kind of person. That's actually
really true.
What kind of person you'll end up being. It's also, I
must say, astrology is not entirely useless, but it has to be used properly. Like, that's the problem. And it's the same exact thing as I would say with like tarot cards and palm readings and stuff like that. It can be okay if you use it properly, which is, some people have a hard time being introspective. And I don't think you and I actually think this is part of our personality types, is you and I are probably very introspective personalities, because we're both, first of all, introverted, which heavily affects introspection, as well as we're both feeling personality types. So going back to the Myers-Briggs, but essentially we're sensitive to our own emotional states as a general rule. And because of that, we look inward and we do a lot more introspection. I know people who use tarot as a form of introspection because they can't sit down and just think about their emotional state. That doesn't work for them. And so they'll use tarot or a astrology sign to look at and think, that is a shortcoming that I'm struggling with right now. And so like it'll speak it'll speak to what they're going through and how they're feeling.
It'll kind of help them like organize their thoughts a little.
Exactly. Help them organize their thoughts, help them introspect, help them understand where their failings are or where their struggles are and what to start doing to combat them.
I never thought of that. Never thought of people using tarot that way.
Yeah, and I've heard of people using tarot that way. I've seen people and actively participated in people using astrology that way, as in like I had a friend who was like, here, download this astrology app and I'll show you how I use it, which is what changed my mind about it, because it was like, I didn't think about that side of things of like, well, for me, I've never had a problem, or I should say, I've had a problem doing that since I started meditating using meditation in therapy. And so ever since I started using meditation in therapy, it's like that was unnecessary for me to have something to point to for my own introspection. I've been able to do that on my own, but if people struggle with that because there's too much going on in their head, or they're not good at focusing because they have ADHD, which is a lot of people who I've talked to about this, or whatever they're going through just prevents them from really having a good way of looking in themselves, they can use tarot or palm readings or astrology as a way to look and be like, yeah, wow, I am really self-socially isolating right now because that's what my star sign says that I'm going to do this month, and I need to not do that. And regardless of whether or not that is accurate, as in like it's accurate because it's their star sign, it's accurate because that's what they're doing because of their outside circumstances, and then their star sign calls them out on it, and their star sign would have called them out on it regardless of whether or not they were or weren't doing that. Yeah. But the funny thing is right, like all of these types of things, tarot, astrology, palm readings, all of it, right, it's perception bias. So it's one of those things where it's like it proves itself, because if it's wrong, then it was just like, well, that one doesn't apply to me. And if it's right, it's helpful in these instances, as long as you're using it that way, right? Using it as a metric to measure oneself up to the standard that oneself wants versus using it as a way to measure other people. And I think that's a healthy way to do it, which is why I say there's a way to use them healthily, but it's very internally and introspective. I'm not a Taurus. I'm a Scorpio, which means everyone hates me. That's what that means. Pretty much, I'm not even joking. On the apps where they are heavily focused on astrology, all right, people don't like me. Like literally, it will say in people's profiles, no Scorpios.
That's fucked up, man.
Yeah, like every other, they're like, I'll date any other star sign, but no Scorpios. And I'm like, well, fuck you, I guess. I'm not going to date you anyways because you're an astrology bitch and I don't want an astrology bitch. So,
wow,
it is what it is.
That's funny. That's straight up.
But yeah.
Does that really, would that count as racism?
I don't know. I have made it analogous to racism or sexism because it's like, now you're judging my entire personality based on when my parents decided to conceive me. Yeah. So yeah, zodiac cyst is it's a problem, and also like scientifically proven to be inaccurate, and like even experts cannot tell. Based on your personality.
I cannot believe that at some point somebody had to run an actual scientific experiment to prove that it's fucking bullshit, but whatever.
I know.
You'd think that common sense would take over and be like, no, we don't need to prove this wrong because it's pretty fucking obvious that it has nothing to do with reality. But no,
common sense is not a common thing.
Apparently it's not.
It's not a common thing. But yeah, anyways, I have always had problems with zodiac signs in general, mostly because I am a Scorpio. And pretty much everything that you read, like if you go read your zodiac sign as a Scorpio, it's like you're a piece of shit and nobody likes you. It's like fucking thanks for the self-esteem boost, you ass. Yeah, I don't know what it is about people who write zodiac signs, but they are heavily anti-Scorpio, and I think it's really terrible. I don't know why. Like, apparently I'm supposed to be shallow.
Oh.
And judgmental and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know.
Clearly. Can't you tell? Yeah. We're 13 episodes in. I'm pretty sure viewers can tell. That's exactly who you are, Tully.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a shallow person.
I'm a shallow bitch.
Yeah.
And all I care about is your zodiac sign. What's your zodiac sign, Holic?
I am Aries. Aries?
You're an Aries? Oh, no.
Aries. Yeah, that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I know people who won't hate Aries either.
The sign of the goat and fire.
Yeah.
Or some shit like that.
I don't know. I'm just a Scorpion.
Yeah. Just run around hating people. I'm gonna be over here climbing shit, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're a fucking fish.
Yeah.
The other zodiac thing that I kind of really like, it's the Chinese zodiac. I think
the Chinese zodiac is kind of cool.
I think that one's cool.
Like
and it doesn't randomly use shit in one of its signs for no fucking reason.
True. Yeah. True. What year is it by the Chinese zodiac? It's the year of what?
No, last
the snake.
I think so. I think last year was the year of the dragon. I think, or the tiger, one of the two.
Yeah. Let's see.
What are we on? But it's an animal and an element, so you gotta hit me with the element too.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and okay, so it is
People won't guess what you are, Index. Yeah. Man, all this zodiac talk is reminding me of Homestuck.
Yeah.
That was early days.
It's a Tiger Wood. Yeah, I also went through a Homestuck phase. But yeah, it's the year of the tiger and the year of wood.
Okay. Right now, tiger and wood. Okay.
So it's growth and what does the tiger mean? I don't remember what the tiger means.
I don't know either. It's pretty long. It goes pretty in detail. The Chinese zodiac has a lot of detail to it, which is kind of like what I like.
Yeah.
Anyways, oh my god.
Anyways, those are all just scams.
So did you know
by smart people?
A bunch of people. Yeah. Did you know that apparently Warframe has a big update? Has had an update.
Really, I couldn't have guessed that Warframe would have a big update because Warframe fucking always has big updates all the time.
Yeah, and that's what I was looking
at. Every update
is
a big update.
Every update is a big update, which means no update is a big update, except for that update. That update, that was a big update. Really, I had a viewer come to my stream yesterday, and he wanted to. He was talking about how he's mastery rank 30 on Warframe, and like, he's grinded all this shit, and I'm like, oh no, here we go again. And I redirected him to episode 1 and 2 of our podcast. but that's how I went and learned that apparently, Warframe has had a big update. And listening to what he's saying and listening to him describe the update, that's how I know that I shouldn't even like look at the update at all. Because he said that he was done with it in like the first week, and now he's just grinding shit again. And I'm like, okay, it's an inconsequential update then.
Yeah, it's a big update, but unfortunately, all of the content is grind. None of the content is actual content. That's what Warframe does
content being content, nonsense.
Nah,
get out of here.
Warframe would never make real content. They would just make grind.
Yep.
Jesus.
Here, they will release a quote-unquote big update. They were going to release 2 new weapons, 1 new Warframe, and 1 questline with maybe 10 lines of voice-acted dialogue. And there you go. Content, people. Yeah. And then everybody will be
Digital
freaking out. Like, Warframe's so good. So fun.
Warframe's the best game ever. DE is gods. We should worship them and their immortal souls. That's what everyone says.
And speaking of shit that needs to be forgotten, fucking what's that name? Overwatch 2 also came back.
Overwatch 2?
Yeah, apparently
is it in beta now, or is it out of beta?
Yeah, it went to the beta, and
that's
literally everybody hates it.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I've heard good things.
You've
I've heard good things from my
What
friends,
have you heard? Tell me.
I don't know specifically because I haven't been paying that much attention, because quite honestly it's Overwatch, and I know I say I play a decent amount of Overwatch, but I really don't give a fuck about Overwatch. Yeah. I play it because my friends play it, and that's it.
And that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
If I could convince my friends to play another game, I would. But they want to play Overwatch, so you know what? We play Overwatch, and I'm okay with that. It's fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, my friends will get Overwatch too, and then I'll have to dump however much money they make me pay to pay for a game that we all already have. Because it's just going to be the same shit minus one person.
Oh, man. So, fuck, what was that game I also wanted to talk about? I had it just at the tip of my tongue. Shit. Totally, fill in for me. Hold on while I try to remember something.
Today, or this week on Amazon, I bought a Dazai cosplay from Bingo Stray Dogs. An 8-inch Pikachu with a flower plushie that's going to go in my car. And a set of portable Japanese chef knives, as well as an endoscope camera for running cable and a fish tape for myself for running cable.
What makes a knife portable? The hell?
It's lockback.
Oh.
So it's a folding knife instead of it's a 4-inch folding blade.
The fuck?
Designed for portable chef work rather than a like long 8-inch or 7-inch or 5-inch chef's knife.
Interesting. Why wouldn't you just why wouldn't you just get like a nice bag for your knives and take that instead?
So it's going to be a lot easier to pack if I'm trying to pack light for either backpacking or rock climbing, as well as it's going to be a lot easier to pack light for getting through plains. So I can literally just throw them in a bag. And if I don't want to take a bag, if I just want to do carry on, I can just mail them to myself wherever I'm going. Way cheaper than like trying to mail, because I can shove them all into like an envelope rather than trying to ship an envelope. Because the problem with shipping like a long chef's knife in an envelope is you might bend the blade. No matter how well you protect the blade, you might bend the blade. But if they're folding knives, you don't have to worry about bending the blade.
I don't think I'd ever mail a knife to myself.
My family does it all the time when we forget, because we always carry knives on us. And like sometimes we'll forget to take it out of our pocket on our way to the airport or whatever.
Totally not sociopathic behavior.
Yeah, and if we're in the airport and we're like, oh shit, I gotta go through security and I have a knife, we'll just go like to the FedEx or the UPS and mail it to ourselves, mail it back to our house.
Wait, putting a knife on like on your hand luggage, but on like the actual luggage, did the airports let you do that now?
Yeah, as long as it's not carry on. If it's checked bag, yeah. You can put a gun in checked bag.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought that you just couldn't bring any sharp object, period.
No, because in checked bags, they're like, you can't access them. They're in the bottom of the plane.
Okay.
So you can put whatever you want in a checked bag. Like that's how people fly with guns. And like really big things. So yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much I'm going to use checked bag. I don't like using checked baggage, but it's just nice to have. Also, I just want my own set of nice knives. And they're pretty nice knives for the quality, and I think they'll be fun to use.
I've never had to pack check bag for myself ever. Every time I travel, all my shit fits on my carry-ons, and
Yeah.
what?
Normally I do that too. Normally I have everything I need everything I need goes in a carry-on bag. I'm going to Connecticut and then to Puerto Rico. And I don't know. I might not
you might
have
need
enough
to stab
room.
a bitch.
Well, mostly I might just not have enough room in my bag, and I might need to check my bag because I might not like have enough room for all the stuff that I need to take with me. Because like I got to take a full suit with me.
You going to a
Because
wedding?
I'm going to a wedding in Puerto Rico. That's why I'm going to Puerto Rico, is to go to my best friend's wedding, which I am in the wedding party. So I have to pack my suit and take it with me. And so, yeah, because I have to pack my suit and take it with me,
I've been told that people like doing weddings and wedding parties outside the US because it's cheaper and better, even if people have to travel.
Yeah, well, the woman he's marrying was born, well, not born. She was raised in Puerto Rico. Her family are missionaries in Puerto Rico. So she moved to Puerto Rico when she was like 3.
Wow.
And so she's lived there her whole life, and they met on the internet and then got together and are going to get married now. And so I want to be there to support him because this is the guy who I threw snakes with. So, you know.
Yeah, you are blood bound by a curse to walk the afterlife. Indeed,
we're blood brothers.
We're blood brothers. No, that woman.
We shed a lot of blood together.
That woman might be marrying your best friend, but you and your best friend, you are together.
Oh yeah.
In a bond of blood and murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That
goes beyond marriage, because that's what they say. Until death do us part. That's as long as marriage lasts.
Yeah.
But that curse, man.
The snake curse. Yeah, that's gonna go into the afterlife. You better believe.
Yeah.
Those snakes are gonna be following me forever.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'll have enough room. So if I have to check my bag, I will. But I also know that I won't need knives in Puerto Rico because I'm probably not going to be doing any cooking at all there. And I think when I'm in CT, I will probably have access to cooking stuff because we'll be in an Airbnb that seems pretty well put together. So, and if not, I can always buy stuff. And I'm one of those weird people where like, if I'm cooking and I realize like I'll get to the Airbnb, assess what the Airbnb has and what I need to make what I want. Okay. And then I'll be like, dude, they don't have a fucking whisk. Why don't they have a fucking whisk? I need a whisk. Man. So when I'm at the store getting food to cook, I will buy a whisk and I'll just leave it at the Airbnb because I'm like, fuck this. Fuck this.
How can you not have a whisk? Like,
how can you not have a whisk in your kitchen? I know that a lot of people don't cook in Airbnbs, but if you are going to, and you want to do anything that requires a pastry or a mixture or egg white mixture, you're going to need a whisk. And it's like, I don't know, it's like a cooking essential to me. And if they don't have one, they should. Yeah. So, yeah. I've done that to several Airbnbs.
Oh, the worst is that when you go to a family member's house and then you say you're gonna help them cook, and not only are they missing something, but like their knives are dull as fuck because they've never had to deal with like they've never had like an actual proper sharp knife.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Tuli, did I ever talk to you about how my mom deals with knives?
No, how does your mom deal with knives?
Okay, she will buy really, really expensive German steel knives, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the ones that are like $400-$500. She'll get a full set, and then she will use them and she'll be happy with them for the first month or so. and then she'll get upset that they stop cutting, and then she will go ahead and blame the knife manufacturer because her knives are no longer cutting, buy a new set of a really expensive knives, and repeat the process over and over again.
That is a very expensive way to live life, and
sounds stupid,
you can just
right?
buy a knife sharpening kit and learn how to sharpen knives.
That's exactly what I did. So for her birthday, which was a few months ago, I've realized, hey mom, I've noticed that, and I open the drawer, the knife drawer. I've noticed that here's one set of expensive German knives. I take out and I say, here's the second set that you bought last year, and then I open it, and here's the newest one that you bought a month ago, right? Why do you need so many knives? And she's like, oh, it's just they didn't come out good, I wanted better knives, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, Mom, that's not the problem here. It's that you use the knives, because you're a home cook, you cook for the family, but you never sharpen them. You don't need a new set of knives. You need to learn how to sharpen knives, right? And you have to understand that up until this point, she thinks that sharpening knives is grabbing that stick, that metal stick, and just rubbing the knife against it. That's what sharpening knives is for her. And for the people that don't know, that's absolutely not sharpening. That is just setting the edge again after using it for a little bit. That's all that does. It doesn't sharpen knives.
It does not sharpen the knife. That just makes sure that there aren't any gaps in the edging.
Yeah.
It does not renew the edge. All it does is smooth out the edge.
Correct. Like when you cut into especially bone and like some hard vegetables, the edge being very thin as it should be, very sharp, depending on where you're putting pressure and where it makes contacts with the hard part of whatever you're cutting, it will bend the edge slightly at that point, which will make an uneven edge. So that metal knife, that metal bar that you see chefs, rubbing their cleavers against, that is for resetting the edge back to where it originally was. It's not meant to sharpen your knife. But anyways, I digress. So at this point, I understand, what my mom is going through. Is she has no fucking clue whatsoever what sharpening a sharp knife really is. She's never had to sharpen a knife on her life.
Oh no.
And now I understand why is it that as a teenager I struggled so much with cooking. It's because her knives were dull as fuck.
Yeah.
Right? I also never understood what a sharp knife actually is like. When you buy a brand new knife, sometimes the manufacturer will send you a sharp, a really sharp edge, but that's not even that sharp,
Right.
The real sharp knives are the knives that you sharp yourselves with like whetstones.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I did. I told myself, all right, I'm going to learn how to sharpen knives, and I'm going to sharpen them for my mom. And then for her birthday, I'm gonna sharpen all her knives, and she won't have to spend any more money, and she'll have an easier time cooking, right?
Yeah.
Well, so I go to Amazon and I go and buy 1,000 grit and a 6,000 grit stone. I grab some leather thingamabob to finish the edge, and I get the whole kit, like $80 or something.
Yep. Yeah.
It arrives, and I fucking beat my ass sharpening her dull ass knives all fucking afternoon to get them to a decent state, right?
Right.
And for those that don't know, sharpening a knife takes a lot of patience and a lot of effort. Sharpening
It does.
a really dull knife takes 3 or 4 times the amount of effort and time. So I was confused because I was looking at the tutorials, and I'm like, okay, I did it for the X amount of time the tutorial told me to, and I put X amount of pressure. I did the whole trick with the having a kitchen scale and making sure that you're putting enough pounds of pressure on the knife, blah blah blah, the whole thing. And
Yep.
and I'm like, the knife is still not sharp. What's going on? It's not even doing the paper cut test very well. And that's when I realized, oh, it's because in the tutorial, the people who are sharpening their knives, already have some form of edge or another. The knives that my mom has had for the longest time were so fucking dull, they might as well be nub. Like, she's just been cutting meat and vegetables with what effectively is a fork.
Yeah.
Like, it's horrible.
Yeah.
So I understood, when I understood that, I realized what I had to do. I had to put a lot more pressure, and I had to go at it for like way longer, and then I finally got down the knives.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, and then I nailed it. I did the paper cut test where you grab, I went to the printer, grab an A4 piece of paper, and I held it with one hand, and I actually chopped through it very easily with in the middle of the air. Right. So that was I felt really proud. One knife took me like an hour and a half because it was just that fucking dull.
Yeah.
So I was exhausted. So I said, okay, that knife done, cool. Next day, I do 2 other knives. Again, like 2.5 hours. I was dying, and I'm like, okay, well, that's her Italian knife. That's her chef's knife. This is the cleaver done. I can relax now. I can go and be like, okay, Mom, you can try out these knives now. Hope that you like them. And she liked them. She at first she was a little scared because she's never held a knife that sharp before. She was a little angry, like, now I'm gonna cut my fingers. Thank you. I was like, no, Mom, a dull knife is more dangerous than the sharp one. Anyway, whatever. I disregarded her comments, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Fast forward a week from there, and I'm looking at the knives, and they're completely destroyed. Like, the edge has been cut. She's been cutting with the and the edge when I'm like passing my thumb throughout not the length of the blade, but I'm going up and down from north to south. It's like if against the sheet of metal, I can feel the edge completely to one side. The burr is called. She had made a burr with the knives just by using them, and I'm like, what the fuck were you doing? How? It's been a week. How? So I asked her, Mom, did you do this? Like, I asked her, did you like chop something on like a stone or something? And she goes, no, I didn't do anything out of the ordinary. What's going on? And I'm like, okay, because the knife that I literally sharpened last week is already completely like destroyed now. What's going on with that? I was like, oh no, I don't know. It must have been someone else. Okay, someone else. Okay. So I fucking beat my ass, and I sharpen the knives. It takes me a little bit less time because I just had to reset the edge, but it still takes me like an hour and a half to do all the knives again. And then bam, they're nice and sharp again, and whatever. Fast forward a week from then again, same fucking thing.
Wow.
And at this point, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I was ready to kill someone. So I go and ask the other people that live with us, and ask them if they had been playing with these knives. And they're like, no, what are you talking about? Everybody's denying anything.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Another week after that, I don't resharpen the knife. So a week after that, I am just hanging in the living room, and my mom is cooking dinner, and I see the most horrible thing I've bear witness to in quite a while. I'm being dramatic, but I'm hanging with her. I'm seeing my mom, one knife in one hand, one knife on the other hand. She was rubbing the edge of each knife against each other really, really hard. With her left hand, she had put the knife facing up against the counter, and then with her right hand and with the weight of her body, like rubbing really, really hard against the knife that she was holding down. And I'm just sitting there in complete disbelief. And I don't know what possessed me at that point, but I went up to her and asked, Mom?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? And she looks at me deadpan in the eyes and goes, oh, I'm just sharpening them a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, Tuli. At that point, I am in such disbelief. And honestly, almost quite offended considering the amount of effort and time that I have put into this whole thing.
Yeah.
That I go at her and go, Mom, I need you to do something for me. You know how you have literally like 7 knives? Can you give me one of them and promise you'll never touch it? She goes, no, they're my knives. And I go, okay. And I just go to my room.
Yeah.
Next day, I go to the store and I buy a $15 kitchen knife.
Yep.
And then I get home, I'll open it up. Of course, it's sharp, but it's not that sharp. And
Yep.
I sharpen it. I spend 45 minutes or so sharpening because it's already somewhat sharp from the factory. And then I hide it. And then I spotted my mom cooking the other day, and I'm like, Mom, I bought this knife. All right? And I show her where I'm hiding it. Don't touch that knife. That's not your knife, I told her. That's my knife now. I really, really like that it's a functioning knife and that it has a good edge and that it works. And it goes, oh, how much you spend on it? I was like, $15. And it cuts really well, but don't touch it. And she goes to me and goes, oh yeah, it just cuts well because you just bought it. When she said that to me, on top of all the bullshit that I had witnessed the previous day, that's when I knew. That's when I opened the drawer where I have my whetstones at, and I brought them to my room, and I'm like, I don't even trust her with those things anymore.
Yeah.
Like, no, never again. Never again am I going to sharpen a knife for that woman.
Jesus.
Crying out loud, dude.
Yeah.
And that you mentioned, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, in my family, we know how to treat our knives because hunting knives are finicky and special, and you got to be really careful with them.
Yeah.
My hunting knife is sharp enough that we can cut through a rib cage of an elk with it.
Nice. Well, I guess that's the purpose of it, you know. If it's a hunting knife.
That's part of the purpose. But yeah, I take very good care. My dad has a professional knife sharpening kit, and I'm gonna have to get one when I move out because I won't be able to just borrow his.
What's in a professional knife sharpening kit? Because I only have one double-sided whetstone, and that's about it.
So in a professional, they're actually not that expensive anymore. I was just looking them up on Amazon. They run like 50 to $60. Yeah, essentially, it has a movable anchor point so that you can set your angle.
Nice.
And so like I can show you what it is, but it basically like it attaches to a desk or counter or whatever, and then it holds onto the back blade of your knife, the back of your knife blade, and then there's like a stand on it that you have a movable anchor point on, so you can set like, I want a 20-degree angle, so you set your 20-degree angle and then you just slowly move your whetstone, and your whetstone attaches to a bar that runs through, so it's like you can get a really nice clean movement. You can get, we can get our knives so sharp. Our test, rather than the paper test, our test is we shave our arm. Yeah, so nice. our knives are sharp enough that you could shave your face with it. And the reason why we do that is because well, I do that now because I worked at a taxidermy shop where you were I was sharpening my knife 2 to 3 times a day. And the reason why is because you always want the sharpest edge because you want the cleanest cuts, and you have to sharpen it until you can shave your arm with it. And that's the whole thing. And at the taxidermy place, we were sharpening on a grindstone, and we were sharpening 17-degree angle. So we were sharpening literally razor blade sharp was the whole point, which 17 degrees is good for razor blades and fillet knives. 20 degrees is good for most kitchen knives. 25 degrees is good for, I'm trying to remember, like meat knives and stuff like that.
Cleavers,
and then and cleavers. And then 30 degrees is good for like really heavy duty. That's like where we sharpen our hunting knives. Our hunting knives are sharpened at 30 degrees because you have to use them for like 3 hours and they have to stay sharp the whole time, and they have to be sharp enough to be able to get through the meat and muscle the whole time. And so it's like it's not quite as easy to cut with them. But with the hunting knives, what's super important is that it stays sharp the whole time. And so we sharpen them to 30. But yeah, it's really interesting. Dull knives are definitely the most dangerous knives
by far. And I really understood that when I went to my aunt's house. We went to visit for a little party, and I spotted that there's their knives. I was in the kitchen drinking some water, and I spotted her knives.
Right.
And I go, if my mom is like this,
right.
So I go and reach on one of the knives. There's no edge. It's like the top side of the knife and the bottom of the edge and the top part of the knife is almost like the exact same thing. It's like I would have an easier time going through meat with a fucking crayon or a marker.
Yeah.
It's like that bad. It's like I don't understand.
And by the way, if you ever see a professional butcher or somebody like that, run their knife blades like that, because they will do that. Mm-hmm. The reason that they're doing that is to reset the edge the same that you do with the metal rod.
Bar. Yeah.
Yeah. And they can only do that with certain knives, and they don't do it with a lot of pressure. They just and then they're done. Yeah. And that's the whole thing.
That thing is not sharpening. People, please learn. Yeah. It's just to set the edge again. That's it.
It's to remove the micro burrs that you're going to get if you're cutting through hard things. Mm-hmm. And so, you'll see a butcher do that, for example, after maybe he cuts off a ham.
Bunch of bone. Yeah, a ham.
So he just whacked through a bone with his cleaver. Then he might do that to remove a micro burr that might have formed on the blade. But it's literally like they'll do it quick, 3 passes. And the other thing that they'll do it for is they'll do it and they'll do the 3 pass, right? And you'll see them go down, up, down. Mm-hmm. And what they're doing on that is they're trying to set the burr. And if they can't set the burr, then they'll pull out a whetstone, or they'll pull out an actual rod, an actual steel rod to remove the burr or to set the burr to the right angle. And so, like, with that in mind, it's like you don't just sharpen knives like that. There's a specific purpose for what they're doing there, which is feeling the texture of their knives, understanding the life of their knives and what's going on the blade, and then fixing it that way. Because sometimes burrs, and especially if you're using knives all day, so like a butcher would be using a knife all day long, right? They're going to know their knives really well. They have to, because that's their livelihood. And also it's like nice butcher knives are like thousands of dollars.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah. So those are things that they take very good care of for that purpose. But yeah, I like knives. I'm a fan of knives.
Knives are cool.
Knives are cool. I need to get myself a knife sharpening kit, because eventually I won't be able to borrow my dad's anymore.
Yeah, I'll link you the one I got, and I can swear by it. It's a good set. So speaking of cooking and stuff in general, so I had to go to the store today, and I actually
Okay.
drove there for the first time, and I
Nice.
almost hit someone, but not quite.
Oh, no.
Because the car that I go to the driving school with is like a sedan type of car. It's like a small car, but the cars that we have here at home, they're like the tall cars. And in this car that I've been practicing, you barely tap on the accelerator, and the thing was almost like going at 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And same with the brake. It's like I barely fucking touch the brake, and the car almost comes to a full fucking stop. But these cars are the complete different. Like, it's actually smooth. It's like you actually feel like you can control how hard you are accelerating and braking. And I didn't know that. And on top of that, we were going downhill, a little bit downhill, and then into a red light. And I'm like, I'm pressing on the brake, hoping for it to like brake as much as I thought it would brake, and it wasn't braking. Right. So I keep pressing, and it still wasn't braking hard enough, and I had to fucking press it really hard, almost towards the end, because I stopped like a good, I want to say 5 feet to the next car, but it was kind of close, man. Right. I freaked out a little bit there.
Right.
I thought that every single car, the accelerator would be like, and the brake would be extremely sensitive, but no, it turns out that's not true. That's not true, ladies and gentlemen. And
my new car, I just bought a new car.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago.
Oh, you told us.
Yeah, my car died. So I got a 2016 Mazda 3 hatchback. And driving it is so much fun.
Nice.
It's really sensitive. It's pretty high performance compared to anything I've ever driven before. And my goodness, it can go. And I like it. It's fun.
Okay. Have you ever taken a car to like a racing track and just gone absolutely ham on it?
No, but I've gone absolutely ham on back road. Well, not dirt roads, but back paved roads out here.
I have a friend who was telling me about this thing that you're supposed to do with engines after they reach a certain mileage, where he says that it's good for the engine if you take them out to a racing track and you just go like at 100 fucking something miles an hour with it.
Yeah.
And he was telling me that in these racetracks, when in the NASCAR racetracks, the angle of the curves is so much that you have to go at a certain speed or the car tumbles down. It's like they tell you, okay, when you get to that turn, you have to be going at least 80 something, or or the car will turn, and you will crash. And I never really, like, it sounded to be a little exaggerated, but one time I did go to like a NASCAR track, and holy shit, the television does not, and movies do not put into perspective just how steep that angle is at the curves of these racing tracks. It's insane.
It's crazy.
It is nuts. But anyways, moving back to the story where I go to the store. I went to this food market section, and I got myself some nice soba noodles. Have you ever had soba noodles before, Tuli?
Soba noodles? Yes.
How do you have them?
I believe I have.
And when? Do you remember?
It was a long time ago, so I don't remember.
Okay. So for the people that don't know, soba noodles is a type of buckwheat noodles. Yeah. And in Japan, they're eaten during New Year's Eve as a celebration, but you can also just order them at a convenience store. You know, it's supposed to be a holiday kind of food, but you can also have it whenever you want.
Right.
And the cool thing about it, pun intended, is that when you finish boiling them, you need to dip them into ice cold water, and you need to let them cool down as fast as humanly possible. Right. And then they're basically good to go. Then what you do is you grab a mixture of soy sauce, vinegar, and you distill it with water up to taste, and then you just grab the noodles, you dip them into this sauce, and you just slurp away. And I thought to myself, last week when I was in the supermarket, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. Are you okay, Tuli?
Yeah, I was taking a drink.
You fell off. Holy shit!
I like glitched for a second there. That was weird.
my God.
I don't know what happened. Glitch in the Matrix. Don't worry about it.
What's that?
Glitch in the Matrix. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Last week, I grabbed some of these soba noodles. I'm like, I always see them in shows. I always see them in anime. Let me give it a shot. Let me give it a shot. So I grabbed a little pack. I tried them and I cooked them. It's so fucking easy to make. It's literally 5 minutes, and then you dip them in ice cold water, and then you let them dry out for a little bit, and then that's it. They're good to go with the sauce. And
nice.
Oh my God! I initially just made 1/3 of the package, but I enjoyed them so much that I went and grabbed the other 2/3. I just ate all of that shit in one eating.
Nice.
It was great.
Nice.
So now, today, I went back and I bought a pack of 8 little like bundles. 8 bundles of soba noodles. And I can't wait to just have that shit. They're great during summer. It's insane. It's like, you think that cold noodles, that sounds kind of awkward. But really, guys, give them a try. If you next time you're at your Asian supermarket, you see soba noodles, just grab them. It's such an easy meal. Throw them you boil them 5 minutes, you put them in cold water, take them out, grab some soy sauce, grab some vinegar, mix it up, put some scallions in there. That's it. It's as easy as that. And then
that's easy.
It's so great. Easy. It's such a good deal.
I'll have to try that.
You should. It's cheap, delicious, refreshing. I sound like a fucking commercial over here, but if you haven't tried them, you should at least give them one
sukiyaki. Yeah.
Tuli, I'm gonna have to ask you to take over for a moment, because my headset just died and it won't turn on, so I cannot hear you. One moment.
On the date that I went on this week on Thursday, we went to. Well, I guess technically, no, because it was on Wednesday, but it was hanging out with the same girl. It wasn't really a date, but we were hanging out. We went to a local Asian restaurant, and I had donburi, and it was really good. It was some very delicious donburi, and now I want to go get more, and I want to learn the recipe.
Oh boy.
Because beef donburi is really delicious. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Japanese and Chinese, just Asian food in general. I like it. I like eating with chopsticks. And today we went to another local Asian place, and we had ramen, and I got eel sushi, and it was so good. It's good stuff. I'll have to go back there again and get some sushi. But yeah, they don't have squid at this place, but there are a couple places around here that do have squid sushi. I like squid sushi because I'm a squid. But yeah, Halik looks like
I think I'm back.
You're back? Okay, good.
Yeah, I can hear you, but only on one side of my headset.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Okay, I mentioned this on my last stream. Oh, by the way, Sobak, thank you for showing up on the stream. Welcome. Yeah, they died. Yesterday my headset was dying a bunch of times too, like this. And I swapped the charger to a different USB port, and that seemed to do the job. But no, man, I think this headset, this 4-year-old headset of mine, has finally kicked the bucket, because it won't even turn on anymore.
That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate.
So again, FYI, I cannot hear anything. Hold on.
That's okay. I'll just have a conversation that's one-sided. But yeah, I've had a lot of headsets die in my day. I'm a huge fan of Skullcandy now. I actually don't use a headset. I use just a pair of over-ear headphones. I use Skullcandy Crusher ANCs now. Because I have my mic, I have my blue snowball, or not snowball. I have a blue Yeti now.
Blue Yeti. I'm back.
Yeah, Okay.
Oh, never mind.
But I use my skull candies.
False alarm. I'm dead.
Oh, I use my skull candies because I have a funny story that I guess Holic will not get to hear this time, or at least he'll hear it in bits and pieces as he tries to get his headset working. I became a Skullcandy fan many years ago in one of the car accidents I was in. And yeah, so my relationship with Skullcandy is as follows, which is I used to work at a local chicken place that happens to be a little bit homophobic. We call it homophobic chicken around here. It's called Chick-fil-A. And I used to work at one for a while.
It's a great sound to come back to.
I used to open on occasion. And when I was opening, I would have to leave my house at like 3:30, 4 in the morning to be there on time because I wanted to be there on time. And it was a 30 to 45 minute drive minimum, sometimes longer if the weather was inclement or whatever. So it's a summer day, so the weather is not bad. The weather's actually really good. And I am on my way to work. It's probably 3 in the morning, maybe 3, well, a little bit after, probably like 3:30 in the morning when I leave the house. And I am driving. Anyways, this was a long time ago. Keep in mind, I was like 17. I was like 17 at the time. This was literally almost a decade ago now.
Hold on. Homophobic chick is good though.
Much better driver.
Yeah.
Homophobic chicken is good. Chick-fil-A is delicious. Everybody admits it. Even my friends who are
religious prejudice.
Fabulous.
Religious what is the word?
Religious prejudice?
Religious prejudice never tasted so good.
It's true. Religious prejudice never tasted good. Anyways,
sorry, go on.
And so I was headed to work at 3 in the morning. Okay, you know what? I'm going to bring this up. I have not been in a car accident in over 4 years at this point.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. And I'm smarter about driving now, too. And the last car accident I was in was not my fault. And that was 4 years ago.
I like it.
And the last car accident that was my fault that I was in was 7 years ago. So there is that. I'm a much better driver now. And my insurance premiums show it. Anyways, so I'm driving to work at 3:30 in the morning, which, you know, I'm not happy about, but it is what it is. And I had a knife in my back pocket because I always took a knife to work. And it was like uncomfortably, like the clip on the knife was uncomfortably in my buttocks. And so I decided to fish it out from my back pocket while I was driving. And I didn't want to be late for work. So I may have been going a little bit fast because I was young, impetuous, and stupid.
Sucks.
And so I hit a rock with my tire with one hand behind my back. And keep in mind, I'm also driving like a 5-year-old, or actually more than that. I'm driving a like 15-year-old minivan at this point in time. So that's another factor here. I don't like driving minivans. I will not drive minivans anymore. I've had too many bad experiences with minivans, not just car accidents, but just mechanical problems and issues with minivans being crappy to drive. So I don't drive minivans anymore. Regardless, I start fishtailing. I roll 7 times. Okay. I sprained my ankle and dislocated my shoulder in the car accident.
I'm back.
And so I didn't get a concussion, surprisingly enough, or at least I don't think I got a concussion. I kind of come out of my daze because, like, right before something like that happens, it's kind of like everything's slow motion. Oh shit, what's going on? And then immediately after you're done moving, it's like your brain needs to catch up with reality now. And so you're stunned there for a second. So I was sitting there for a second, And then I unclipped and fell on the driver's side window because I was driver's side down, and realized, ow, my shoulder really fucking hurts. That's not good. And so I get up and I do one of the most painful things I've ever had to do, which is I realized that the only way for me to get out of the car is to climb out of the driver's side or out of the passenger side window. That was the only way I was going to get out, which I definitely cannot do one-armed. So I looped my arm over the passenger headrest, and I relocated my shoulder manually on my own, which was intensely painful and probably the second most painful thing I've ever been through in my entire life. And then I cried for a bit in my car, and then I was like, okay, it's time. Now, if you're wondering, well, why didn't you just call anyone? The answer is I'm on back roads, dirt roads. There's no cell service. I can't just call someone. I have to walk 15 minutes to be able to call someone from where I'm at. So I crawl out of the passenger window.
Wait, hold on. But did you have your cell phone with it? How come you didn't use
I had
the
my cell
emergency
phone.
mode? Are you aware that when you activate emergency mode on a phone, it would use different wavelengths to connect to different systems? That way that you have a higher chance of actually connecting to emergency services?
Yes, but not here.
And I cannot hear you, but go on.
This is in the middle of fucking nowhere. So like, this is not that you can't just emergency mode it where I'm at. It wouldn't work. It's literally a dead zone where I crashed. Still to this day, almost. There's a little bit of cell reception there now because they built a tower near it, but it's a literal dead zone. So I crawl out the passenger window.
As any good story starts, yeah.
Yeah. And I cut up my hands because there's broken glass everywhere, and there's not really much I could do about that. I like kind of tried to clean it off, but like it just wasn't working. So I just decided to climb out anyways, and I cut my hands on broken glass. And then I clamber off the top of the car and fall and lie on the gravel road for like 5 minutes, recollecting myself and getting myself back together so that I can start walking with a sprained ankle. So I stand up and I look over on the dirt road, and after rolling 7 times, there are my Skullcandy Hesh over ears, Generation 1. I still have them to this day, by the way. They're hanging behind me on one of my racks. Beat up, having been ejected from a car that I was driving on dirt roads at 70 miles an hour and rolled 7 times down an embankment. Okay? They got flung from the car. I pick them up off the ground and I throw them on my head and plug them into my iPod, because at this time, this was back before phones were able, like you had iPhones, but I didn't have an iPhone. None of the Android phones are standard model phones. They were all flip phones, and none of them had media playing on them. So like, none of them had that capability really, or at least not a good enough capability for me to appreciate it. So I had an iPod and a phone. So I plug it into my iPod and I'm like, well, let's see if they work. I'm not walking 15 minutes, to where there's cell service, where I know there's cell service, to be able to call my parents, to come get me without music. I just don't want to do that. So they work perfectly fine, and they still work to this day. They're hanging behind me. I don't use them very often because they're very old, and I have an upgraded model that's significantly higher quality because they have newer technology in them, but they still work. So that's why I'm a Skullcandy fan. I'm a Skullcandy fan because I'm hard on headphones, because I'm a farm boy who lives in the middle of nowhere, who breaks things pretty consistently and tries to repair them. But headphones are one of those things that are really hard to repair. And I was like, well, I'll tell you what, if they're tough enough to survive a rollover car accident, they're tough enough to survive me. And that is true. And they've been around. I've had those headphones for almost 9 years now, and they still work to this day. And that's why I'm a Skullcandy fan, is because they make high quality over-ear headphones that last a long time and can put up with the abuse that I will put them through. And so now I have Hesh 3 wireless for work. I have Crusher ANC for at home. I have those Hesh for if I ever need moment of recollection, and I'm a Skullcandy fan. Even my earbuds that I use while climbing, my yellow earbuds, they're Skullcandy Push. And I have another pair of headphones. I have a pair of Dimes that I use that are very good for just like on the go, quick listening. They don't have a lot of battery life, and their audio quality isn't very good, but they're at least they're a wireless earbud pair that I can just throw in my pocket and not care about, because they only cost like $15 for
You
wireless
heard
pair of
it
headphones.
here first. Skullcandy sponsorship by Cthulhu Tilly.
Oh yeah, listen. You know what? I will
We
rep
need
Skullcandy because I believe in their
sponsor.
product.
We need
We
a
do.
sponsor. So
You know what? Maybe
you
I
know
should
what?
contact.
Yeah, you should throw them an
Skullcandy.
email. Throw them an email. Send them this episode.
Yeah,
This very professional, high quality, very high standards podcast episode to
This
them.
high quality podcast that only aired live on Holic 25, twitch.tv/Holic25. Only 45 minutes late did we start. Only 45 minutes late.
And we're gonna have to end soon because my headset's still not working and it's acting up.
True.
So we're 9 p.m. This is around the time we would end the stream anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a short episode. That's okay.
Yeah,
I'm not bothered by that.
We've had short episodes before. It's not the worst thing in the world. And my headset's doing a weird like wiggly noise in my left ear, so I get the feeling that it's gonna explode on the side on the side of my head any time now.
You'd better get on Amazon and order yourself a replacement.
Yeah,
maybe,
if only had a friend that could recommend me a brand of
maybe you can
headsets.
get some Skullcandy hash. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Actually, if you want, well, wait, no, you have a desktop mic, don't you?
I do have a desktop, yes.
Okay, yeah, get Skullcandy hash.
No, I'm being serious here. I'm probably gonna go look at Skullcandy. If I could hear you right now, I would tell you to tell me what models I should look into that are around the $200 range.
I'll DM you.
I heard that.
So,
But anyways, thank you guys for watching. That's going to be it for episode 13. And of course, this episode 13 where everything goes batshit crazy. We start late. My headset explodes. Thule almost dies twice. And
I do.
Yeah.
But
it's
that's
fun.
not new.
But that is not out of the ordinary, so we won't count it. Thule, where can we find you? Tell me.
You can find me at twitch.tv/Cthulhu Tilly. You can find me on Instagram at Cthulhu Tilly, on Twitter at Cthulhu Tilly. On Discord, there will be a Discord link below the podcast. There's also a Discord link here where you can find Holic. I don't think our Discords are linked at all or anything like that, but yeah.
No, I heard that, but my headset's now literally really, really hot, so I'm gonna take it off.
Oh no! Yeah, you should turn that off before it explodes. Where can we find you?
Okay.
Even though I know you can't hear me.
No, I did hear that because it's coming in and out.
Okay.
You guys can find me here at twitch.tv/Halic25. I have my Discord linked in the Twitch. I am looking into trying to maybe get into Twitter. I don't know. I'm still iffy about it, but it looks like it's something I'm gonna have to do, whether I like it or not. And we're gonna be looking into a YouTube channel too, because now that I have 100% Genshin Impact's content, it took me 2 months, but I 100% did all the quests and exploration there is to do. I'm gonna start a free-to-play account in the EU server so I can play with my EU friends, and I'm probably gonna make a playthrough of it and upload it to YouTube.
Nice.
I'll make a YouTube channel for that. So yeah.
Looking forward to that. All right. Well, everybody who only caught the last half of this or caught the first half of this or whatever and is back, you can go ahead and look our podcast up on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, anywhere where podcasts are found. Chatting in the Void. Please go look it up, subscribe, follow, whatever you want to do. Would be appreciated, and listen to the rest of the episodes. They're actually a pretty good time, I must admit. Like, I'm pretty proud of what we've done so far, and I'm gonna keep doing it.
We did the human real good.
Yeah, we did.
We humaned quite well in this podcast.
I agree.
All right. Actually, it turns out that disconnecting the headset from the charger seemed to have saved it a little, because now I can actually.
Okay.
It's not going in and out, so it seems like it's the battery that's dead or something.
Yeah.
It's really hot, so yeah. Anyways,
yeah, that sounds like a battery.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll DM about recommended replacements. We appreciate you listening to Chatting in the Void with Cthulhu Tilly and Holic. You can find a video version of our podcast on YouTube and our audio podcast anywhere where podcasts are found. Go give Holic a follow at twitch.tv/Holic25 and catch our podcast live at 7 p.m. EST most Saturdays. Have a wonderful day, or night, or whatever. Thank you for joining us in the Void. Hope to see you next time.